This is James Martin for FTE 211-49059, and this is for assignment 6. It's a 6-part assignment. The first part, we're going to assess the sear angle of our 1911 while it is still assembled. Here we have it, still fully assembled. Chamber flag is in, no magazine. We're going to clear it, check it. It's all clear. So we're going to check it. We're going to check the trigger control and feel. It's hard to see that way. Trigger control and feel. Feels pretty good. I have done a little bit of trigger work to this already. I couldn't wait. But the trigger does feel pretty crisp and clean now. The other thing we want to check as far as sear angle goes is make sure that it's safe. And this weapon is pretty safe. I've checked it already. You know, as far as it being unsafe, safety, you know, nothing there. And then reliability. The only thing you can do with that is, you know, you can't really check reliability other than tearing it apart and looking at it. That's it for part 1. We'll be part 2 next. Part 2. This is disassembly and assess the 14 components, and then use a random generator to pick 3 of them and then go over those. The 3 that mine was picked is going to be the trigger and the fitment. As you can see, I've already polished some. I did not get the ends here, so we'll go over that real quick. So before, it would not fall on its own before I polished it, and now it does. So the fitment there is better. It can be better. The second is going to be the barrel bushing. You want a pretty snug fit. And this one kind of a little loose, not bad. But I wouldn't do any polishing or anything on that. And then the third is the slide to frame fitment. You can see, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, there's some high spots on this slide here. Right here. It's a little gritty. So that's it for part 2. Part 3, we're going to go over how we would fix those fitment issues. First one, I've already kind of went over with the trigger. We will polish the trigger bow, and then we would use our file inside of here for the trigger valley. I call it a trigger valley. Inside of there to get the burrs out. For the slide, on this particular slide, what I would do on this one was use some lapping compound, probably 1000 grit, and mix it with some oil and just run it back and forth a little bit, and that should take care of that issue. Or if it was too loose, you can peen the rails here and make a device that you can slide into here. That way you don't go too far, and you can just peen until you get the right fitment. Or the last one, if it's too loose, which is not recommended, or it can crack your slide, is you can put your slide in a vise and gently squeeze the slide together to get it to fit tightly. As far as the barrel bushing goes, too loose, you can weld some extra material and then Dremel it down and then polish it. Too tight, you can just sand it down, polish it, or your last option is to basically just replace it. Part 4, we're going to polish some components. We're going to sear the disc connector, the sear spring, which this is an aftermarket from Wilson Combat. It's already pre-polished, but I'm going to go over it again. And then the trigger bow itself. I'm going to hit the tops here So that is what they look like before. I'll be back with what they look like after. And then we're also going to do the hammer. All right, so we got the polishing done. Shiny. Sear, shiny. This connector, all nice and shiny. Got the tops done on the trigger bow. You can't really tell on the sear spring because it came polished already from Wilson Combat. So we're going to get this thing disassembled and continue with part 4. Yeah, continuation of part 4. Got it all back together and it's clear, obviously, because we're not using any ammunition and there's no ammunition in the area. I'm going to go over any improvements that I've noticed. I did notice that the trigger is much crisper, cleaner, and that was our goal. So now we're going to go into part 5. We're going to do a dry fire and then a dummy ammunition functions check, going over the safeties. So we're going to cock it back, flip it up on safe. Nothing by depressing the back. Nothing by depressing the back and pulling the trigger. Nothing again with not depressing the back of the trigger and the safety off. And then we go to fire, depressing the palm safety, and then it fires. So now we're going to do a dummy round and go through the cycle of operations, dry fire. We're going to do feeding and chambering. Fed, chambered, locked. Now we're going to fire. We're going to unlock. We're going to unlock, extract, eject. Now we're going to check for reset, resets. And we're going to fire again, reset, fire again, reset, and then it should lock back on the last round ejected, which it did. Part 6, we're going to do similarly drop safety check. So we're going to cock it, put the safety on, hit it, all around, nothing. Safety off, nothing. Thumb safety, nothing. There we go.